Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/JuCowFTW.
Check out our blog where you can listen and download our shows at jucowftw.blogspot.com.
And find us on iTunes by simply searching for Jucow's Podcast Kingdom.
And submit your questions to us at ask.fm/Jucow. We will answer them all each week on Undressed to Impress with a Girl.
Halo, rock star, narcissist. How about a little self-respect? What did you sell? What did you tell yourself? Which piece of you sold to get that check? I mean, how many songs about clubs and bottles, drugs and murders can we take? Watch them climb and fall to the vertebrae breaks out. Doomtree, birds of prey. Tell your city it's the takedown.
Welcome to Spin This, Episode 1. I'm Kyle.
I'm Chase.
And goddamn if we don't have an awesome show for you for the first edition of the show.
Yeah, this is a whopper here.
A whopper?
A whopper.
Yeah, so we had the privilege to talk to Sims from Doomtree. We're obviously Chase and I, we talk about Doomtree all the time on all the other shows. We are big Doomtree fans, big Sims fans, and it was an honor to get to talk to him. So we talk about everything from his career to his personal interests to people stalking him. It's great.
It was a great interview. He's a really nice guy, super genuine, super just really nice, intelligent human being. I hope everybody enjoys it as much as we did.
How big of a fanboy we are shows that during the show, Chase texted his wife saying, "I'm officially talking to Sam."
Yep, I was definitely excited.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's jump into the show. Here is our interview with Sims from Doomtree. So, when did you know that you wanted to be a rapper?
It wasn't like a conscious decision like that. It wasn't like, yeah, I want to be a rapper now. It was just sort of like something that I was doing. When I was like 14 and 15, I was playing in different bands. And then some friends of mine, we'd freestyle together and stuff like that. And then I got better at freestyling, and I've always written since I was probably like 10 or 11. I've been writing stuff. And then I started kind of writing raps when I was like 15. And they were really bad, but then I kept doing it, and I got better at it. And as I got better, it got more fun, and I kind of pushed myself to make better stuff, and I started sort of developed a real passion for doing it, and I just kind of kept going from there. I mean, I suppose I still haven't decided yep, I'm going to be a rapper for the rest of my life. I mean, I feel like that's not a decision I made.
Right.
I think basically I've sort of settled into the fact that I'm dedicating my life to creating stuff. Whatever that means, whether it's music or art or whatever it would be. And just deal with whatever is next, I suppose.
So quick question though, what kind of bands were you in?
They're real genre nondescript, kind of rock stuff that, we were 15 and just kind of screaming into microphones.
Yeah.
And, shredding guitars.
Who inspired you both personally and musically when you were young?
Let's see. I guess when I was young, let me try to put this into context here, because I don't really think about this stuff too often. What really got me out of I listened to a bunch of different music and stuff, but I think Pinkerton by Weezer was a big record for me when I was really young.
It's a great album.
13 or something like that whenever it came out, and that really pushed me a lot, and it informed a lot of the artistic choices I was making, I guess, at that time. And then it was, I suppose, AT-Aliens by Outkast that really showed me a new way to rap. That and the Organized Confusion record, Stress, kind of blew my mind open about what rap could be. At that time, I was listening to a lot of Snoop Dogg, NWA, Biggie.
That's kind of
so your standards, right?
Yeah, they're gateway rappers.
That's right.
That was kind of the era of gangster rap too. I mean, that was that was the big thing then. And that. I was gonna say Awesome on the AT-Aliens album. I listened to that. I probably still listen to that once a month. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're my favorite. I'd say of all time, and this is a totally not even a conversation that's like worth having with people, like who's the greatest rapper of all time or whatever, because you have to look at more than just like what you like. You probably have to look at more like legacy and impact and things that really don't have much to do with art necessarily. But as far as art goes, I think Andre might be my favorite rapper of all time. And I think that he's just consistently innovating the genre and reinventing himself and pushing himself artistically. And I think that his absence has been felt over the last few years, to me at least. Like,
I would agree. He is amazing.
Yeah, I do agree though. He's changed a lot of things. Like with the Love Below that came out, and it was completely different than anything he'd ever done before. And a lot of people had backlash with that, but I thought it was unique and different. He's trying to be different.
I mean, if you look at from Southern Playalistic to all of a sudden, like, you know, we're Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Music, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah, we're actually from outer space because we're weirdos. And then it's and then it's Equemini, and then it's Stankonia. Like, their growth record to record is incredible to me. And Big Boy's new album, who he's choosing to collaborate with, is pretty incredible to me as well. It's like, he's just in tune. They're both so in tune with what is happening in art. And I think that they're like, really cool. And they try to apply a greater world of art and a greater worldview to rap music. And they try to push the boundaries of what is acceptable and what's possible. And I don't think they worry about how it's going to get received. They just go for it. I really love that.
They do what they enjoy, and that's the kind of thing that Chase and I listen to. Is like, whether a lot of the bands that I might listen to, a lot of people might not like, but it's their art. That's what they want to do, and I respect that more than trying to make something to get on the radio.
That's right. And I think that if you really want longevity, and I don't mean it in a way that, like, longevity doesn't mean to me like, okay, you always are going to have a job doing it. I guess I mean longevity in the way that, like, okay, I'm always going to love creating this stuff, is when you kind of make it for yourself and you take the listener out of it and you agree, like, hey, if I like this, like, and I trust my taste, if I like it, I'm going to be happy with it. And if I don't like it, then most likely people aren't going to like it.
Right.
I agree with that totally.
So, how did you guys get together with Doomtree? How did you create Doomtree?
It was something that POS and MK Larada and Cecil Otter and this guy Bobby Gorgeous started together. Initially, it was going to be a production crew, and they were making an album called Doomtree. And I was getting beats from POS when I was in high school, $30 a beat, and I could go record it at his house. And I recorded some songs or whatever, and they were like, "Hey, you want to do maybe a track on this Doomtree record?" I turned in a track. That record never ever came out. But then that sort of was, I think there was a point at which they realized, like, hey, we could do bigger than a record with this. Maybe we should do like a whole label. And I think those guys were more interested in creating their own product at that time than working on a collaborative production record. And they decided that they wanted to rap more than they wanted to just be a production house. And but the idea was like, hey, we can do all the stuff internally. We can do all of our own beats, and we can do all of our own records and put them out ourselves and go for it. And that's kind of the story there. I mean, I guess they officially invited me in after they had me play a show with them. I don't know what year it was, 2001 or something. They had me play a show with them at the Dinky Towner, and I think there was like 55 people there. We were super stoked that anyone came. And if I could like go back and see that show, there'd be something special about it, but I'm sure it was a terrible show.
It's nostalgia.
I'm sure there'd be something special about it because we were so like hungry at that time. But I'm sure it was a horrible show. But anyway, that was when Laserbeak was like, "Yep, you want a beat from me? Let me know." After that show, and then they kind of like, I don't know, like they were all living together over south, and they, you know, like had a meeting in their living room or whatever, something like that. But basically, me and Dessa were asking about that same time. It was a really rapid growth of Doomtree, like as far as the members of Doomtree. It went from 4 to like 12 in like 3 months, I think.
Right. I was going to say, I thought that you were one of the founding members, but you was like, so it was shortly after they all got together that you and
Yeah,
Dessa.
pretty much. I mean, we're all like, at this point, this deep into it, I feel like we're all the founding members.
Right.
Sort of like took an idea and then through like, I guess our own sensibilities shaped what this idea was going to become.
Right. You all perfected it together.
Is it perfected?
I think so.
For sure. I
that
can't
what
stop
you
listening to that.
Dude,
No
if
Kings
you
album.
only knew how much Chase and I talked about you guys, and not just on just like a music show, every show we do, like we have I think 10 podcasts now, we always come back to Doomtree. Like it always ends up coming back to Doomtree. Like we'll be your groupies.
Well, roadies maybe.
No, dude, you gotta go groupie. We gotta get some of that.
This next question kind of is part of the one you just answered, but it seems like the track "No Homeowners" and "Lights Out Paris" was kind of a major stepping stone towards an all Doomtree record. Was that the case, or was it just a great opportunity to work with friends?
I mean, I think I wanted like a quintessential posse cut on there. And the Doomtree record was always like on the table. It just never materialized. Because I think the deal is with us is that we've always been so driven on, it's not a group so much. It's a collective insofar that we're all here to support each other's music and help facilitate getting it out there. And I think originally it was, you have a show, that means I have a show. And if I have a show, that means you have a show. And we're going to take all the money from that show and we're going to put it back into this pool. And when it comes time to like, hey, we need a spindle of CDs so we can so we can burn some CDs for the next show. And we need $50 for Kinkos and some clear cases. And we would like have some money to do that. And that's kind of how we got going, And so we've always been like pooling resources to make the next thing possible. And, we never had a dollar come from an investor or an outside source other than just like the music has basically paid for itself. Now, that doesn't mean that we have any money, but we've grown it from I need $50 for a spool of CDs to sell them at the show to like, hey, we're doing a pressing of the next whatever record and we're doing, now way more volume than we were before. And so it's the same game. It's just the numbers have changed a little bit.
Yeah, for the better.
Yeah, for the better.
Yeah.
For the better, for sure.
To me, though, you outdid yourself with Bad Time Zoo. I think it's one of my favorite things to listen to, mainly because of tracks like LMG, just because it's finally cool to have a song that's a love song, but also it's funny and like it's upbeat and fun instead of just being like a droll, boring love song that no one wants to hear. I think that's really cool. It's great work on that.
Thanks, man. It's like my attempt at a ballad.
Yeah. It's the closest I think a rap ballad could be, though.
Right, and the deal is like I don't know, like especially in like indie hop, like I really hate how it's all like these dudes like I'm gonna cut myself.
Yeah.
I die for you, that kind of stuff. Just like so like emo and boring and like I don't know. And that's no knock on the dudes who do that. It's just that for me and my taste, they're like, I'm not messing with that at all.
Right. You want to be happy and upbeat, and you can talk about real issues and not sound like.
And if you're gonna do your girl song, like your breakup songs, like give me some like visual representation. Like paint me a picture of what's happening. Don't just talk about how broken your heart is. Like show me through like use visceral language to explain how broken your heart is. Don't just say like my heart is broken and now I'm using this old thread to stitch it back together. It's just like the cheapest devices you can find. But yeah, that was like the idea with that song. And I actually like it was sort of like one of those on the scrap pile that I pulled off the scrap pile to put on the record at the end. We made like 27 or 8 songs for that record. And then sort of split them off as they were. I think like 4 of them never came out. Some of them are on various Doomtree False Hopes releases, and a couple of them are on False Hopes 14, like that record I put out like about a year before Bad Time Zoo, and then 5 of them are on Wildlife.
Wildlife came out after Bad Time Zoo, right?
Right, but all the songs were recorded at the same time.
Yeah, it's the only one that I haven't heard yet. I haven't got my hands on that one yet.
Well,
but Laserbeak...
on the Bandcamp.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Laserbeak and you worked, you both worked on Bad Times Zoo and Wildlife. If they were both the same tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that record got a good bit of critical acclaim. Like it got a lot of good reviews. And how does it feel to get your deserving praise?
I mean, it feels good. It feels rewarding. But to be real with you, I didn't really read most of the reviews coming in. It feels good when it's someone who writes about music professionally, acknowledges like, yep, this is good music. But it doesn't mean that much to me, I suppose.
Right.
I guess what means more to me is that people connect with it, whether it's 5 people at my show in Dallas or 5,000 people at my show in Dallas. It doesn't matter to me. But if people really connect to it, and I guess that's why I do it. It's not necessarily to get praise. Like, I don't want to get pat on the back. I want to communicate with people. And I know that sounds like super full of shit.
No, that's what sets you apart, though. I mean, you're not trying to get on the radio. You're doing what you want to do, and that's why we like you so much.
Oh, I'm trying to get on the radio. It's just I'm not making songs that will get me there.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you're different. That's what sets you apart. I think in the long run, indie movies, indie music, it's all going to be the mainstream more than anything else. Because it's just, there's so much going on in the underground, to me.
Yeah.
Were there any differences between recording your first record and your second?
Yeah, absolutely. For one, I recorded a bunch of stuff in the interim time between doing full-length records. So I had more practice being in the studio, and it's hard to connect with your song when you're recording it in a studio environment, or at least it was like a learning curve. Now I have no problem doing it, but there's a lot of like sort of ancillary thoughts happening while you're recording. You're like looking through the glass window at the room full of dudes looking at you, and you're like, is this good? Am I not doing good? Am I doing this take right? Is this take not right? They're like these thoughts that are happening while you're supposed to be performing. And I've learned how to like kind of quiet down that inner monologue and just reconnect to where I was at that time and place when I wrote that thing. And so there's that. And then 2, I wrote way more songs for that attempt than I did for the Bad Times Zoo record. Or I'm sorry, for Lights Out Paris. And so it took the pressure off the songs. It was like, well, if this isn't the greatest song of all time, I can just never put it out. You know, and it just takes the pressure off. Like, I only have 10 songs. They all got to be really good. As opposed to, like, I have 30 songs and I'm going to pick 12 of them and, like, you know, I'm going to hit for average here. And it takes the pressure off the song to be the greatest song that was ever created. And more just like, nah, this is a song. This is a snapshot of me right now. And that's it.
Well, you mentioned False Hopes 14 just a bit ago. And my question I've had for a while, I actually asked Chase, I think, a couple months ago, and I don't think he was sure either. I know Doomtree had a False Hopes record come out, and then I know Dessa, you, Mike, Cecil, Paper Tiger, you've all had your solo False Hopes. What does False Hopes mean to Doomtree?
It means, like, we didn't have any money to mix this or to, like, really give it a... It's like a mixtape, essentially, is what we did.
Gotcha.
We decided, like, when we were putting out all those records on CDR, like, we would make full albums just for shows. Like, I think there's a False Hopes UW Stout one. You know, yeah, like, we made a False Hopes Dinky Towner and a False Hopes Warped Tour and a False Hopes, like, whatever. We'd make whole albums just for shows. We had no idea what we were doing. But, I think the idea was, like, we're just going to put these out, and we're not going to worry about how to put it out, you know. Basically just road tapes is essentially what we made.
Right.
But I think the idea of it is, like, a mixtape series. And in some ways I think we're kind of, like, probably done with that, but I'm not sure. I mean, now we just kind of, we'll figure out different ways to put those songs out. But it was great when we had no money. We were, like, literally burning CDs off of a broke-ass computer. Like, we got one, we bought a computer, we, like, you know, pooled all our money and saved up, and we're like, cool, this one has 2 CD burner drives on it. It's going to, like, double our efficiency here.
Yeah.
So it was literally, like, 5 minutes a time. Like, you know, you'd sit there for 4 or 5 hours and burn CDs for tomorrow night. And then we'd cut the covers off we'd photocopy them at Kinko's. We'd steal those pretty much, or we'd find someone who could like hook it up, and then we'd cut them out and throw them in the slimline cases. And that was like the idea with that. It was like a very DIY deal.
Do you think that you'll recut some of the tracks that you did on False Hopes?
No, I don't think I'll ever like re-record them. But I think we're working on right now like a Paper Tiger's making a book of like a Doomtree retrospective of some kind, like, and with that book, I think you're going to be able to get all of the False Hopes from False Hopes 1 all the way to 14, and some of them are pretty hard to find, and so we're going to like package that. I don't know if we're doing CDs or a thumb drive or what we're doing, but
That's cool.
we're going to re-release them or make them available.
I'll be in line for that. So.
Yes, definitely.
Bangarang and Bolt Cutter are great tracks from No Kings, but there are so many others on that record that are perfection. Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, let me think. I really like. Let's see. I find errors in all of them, but I don't dislike any of the tracks on that record. I think that was a really good record. And I don't really say that too much about all of our stuff. I mean, I'm critical of it because I want to improve it constantly. I see the errors in it, but I feel like what's the track?
No Way.
Yeah, No Way is good, but
I can't get enough of that song. Your verse on that song is insane. I just love that one.
What's the one that's There's Nowhere to Go? Yeah. Shit. More embarrassing for me than you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say I listened to it in the car, so I never looked at the title tracks.
Right. Grand
Is it
Experiment.
Own Yours?
Grand Experiment. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one. That was like not really like
Really?
a hit from the record at all, but that's like one I really like, and I really like TTBT. You know, the one I don't really care for on there too much is Fresh New Trash. Even though I think that goes over really well live, it's a nice fun beat.
Right.
But I don't think that we like pushed any boundaries with that song. And I think why I like Grand Experiment is because I don't know, it's like conceptually a really cool song to me. I don't know how we delivered that concept. I mean, that's whatever. But I like that we were like kind of pushing as far as like the way we were thinking about the song.
And I like how Doomtree's music videos are always unique. Like, you know, whether it be Bolt Cutter with Mike screaming on the ground. I mean, that was like interesting. But with Bangarang, what was it like having Harmar Superstar do whatever he was doing?
I mean, Harmar is the homie, and it was sort of our friend Isaac Gale directed both of those videos. And we were in New York, and the Bolt Cutter video wasn't even planned. We did the Bangarang video. And then the next day, he was like, "Hey, do you want to, should we shoot one more?" And so we shot that in our friend Isaac's art studio, and we did that for I think $100.
I was gonna say it feels like you guys are like in a train tunnel or something.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's like some studio in Bed-Stuy, and we lit all of that with iPhones, like iPhone flashlights, basically.
Cool.
Flashlight app that goes through your flash. And so it was all lit that way, and yeah, I mean that was shot for like $100 maybe, because I think we bought beer, which I think it cost $100. And yeah, the Bolt Cutter video, or the Bangarang video was really fun to shoot. It was like, again, the same type of situation. It was just like us sort of deciding to have fun that night, and like that Joan Osborne deal at the beginning was like totally an idea that me and Dessa came up with like on the spot. Like, this would be hilarious if Harmar like busts into this, like we're in this room and then Harmar busts in and he wants to start a new song or whatever.
Right when I heard you guys singing, I knew it was going to be an amazing video, because I was like, are they really singing this?
Right, totally. It's really funny.
You're on a list by City Pages of Minnesota's greatest rappers with some other Doomtree members like POS, Mike, and Dessa. It must feel great. It must feel great to not only get recognition for your work, but to also have your Doomtree family also highlighted.
Yeah, I mean, all that bullshit.
I for one wasn't a fan of some of the ones that were a little higher. I
Right,
thought
yeah, the
you should have probably
placement-
been a little higher, but yeah,
The
whatever.
placement of where you guys are was kind of like, really?
I mean, that's like some kid deciding to create a list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That has nothing to
Yeah,
do
oh,
with
totally.
it. And
Yeah.
whatever, even if you put me at number 1 or you put me at number 5,000, like, that's just some kid and his, like, opinion and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, whatever. Like I said, like, all that critical acclaim, whether it's good or, like, mediocre, like, it really doesn't have any effect on me because I know who these people are that write this stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, I know who they are. Whether I know them personally or I just know who they are as people. And so I don't really, like, listen to what they have to say, because what they have to say doesn't matter to me.
Right. That's awesome. I like that. So do you have any crazy live stories, like any fans being crazy or just traveling or anything that happened on the road?
Yeah, I mean, there's always, like, stuff, and it's hard for me to, like, right off the bat, like,
Right.
you know, good examples. But there was a stalker who came by my house.
Oh, nice.
She was, yeah, that was really weird. Like, she found out where I lived somehow through some kind of crazy series of, like, maths that she had to do. I don't know how, because my address is nowhere. And I certainly don't take pictures of myself in front of my house or anything
Right.
like that, you know. And, like, yeah, like, there was this car creeping by and then, like, stop and take pictures and, like, drive away. And then I saw that a few days in a row. And as soon as we made eye contact, like, she would bolt. And then one day I kind of stopped her. I was like, are you, like, with the city? Or are you, like, a realtor? Like, what are you doing? Like, my house isn't for sale. And, like, if you want to just send me a letter if there's some kind of problem with our whatever. And she's like, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God. And then drove away. Came back a few days later. I was out there. And I just straight up went in front of her car. I was like, I don't know who you are, but, like, or how you found me, but you cannot come back. You cannot come back anywhere. I don't want to see you at a show. If I see you in front of my house again, I'm going to call the cops. I got your license plate, da-da-da-da-da. And she was like, ah, freaked out, peeled away, and I haven't seen her since.
You hear that, Chase? You can't go to his house anymore.
Yeah,
Damn
that's
it.
right, Chase.
Damn it.
He looks
It's
good in
weird,
drag.
like, who tells people to do that? Like, I don't understand it. Like, what is it that, like,
What's the end game?
yeah, what do you think? We're going to get married? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, you're stalking
It's
me,
like-
so let's get hitched.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're right. The whole time, you're totally right. I should have been with you.
Well,
Fuck,
and
like, what do you want? Like,
it's one thing to worship like the music and just embrace it and, you know, get a picture or get an autograph or something, you know. I mean, that's normal obsession, but when you're like going to someone's residence and you're like creeping them out, that's really fucking weird.
That's
Like,
a whole
I
new
just-
level
wow.
of stalker.
right,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck did any parent ever tell you at any time in your life about how to be a person? It does not vibe with any semblance of being a real person.
That conversation between the parents would have been awesome. Like, remember, honey, if you ever meet anyone that's, you know, that
Right,
they
here's
make
what you
music, they're an actor, stalk the fuck out of them. They'll
Go
marry.
ahead and you just find out what you need to find out. Creep on them.
You better look out. She's probably looking in your window right now, I'm
Yeah.
sure. What's in the future for you and Doomtree?
I guess in the short term, I talked about that book. I got a record I'm working on right now. Tomorrow I'm going to record a bunch of it at Cecil's. Cecil and I have been making a bunch of tracks together. He's making a lot of the beats. I'm doing the rapping. And yeah, I'm really excited about those songs. I played a few of them last week. I just got off tour with Dessa a couple days ago. And I played a few of them out live, and it felt really good. And yeah, it was really a good experience for me. It was a weird year for me, and I took like kind of a 9-month hiatus from working on any music or playing any shows. And I got to like sort of come back to it refreshed and sort of like brand new again. Yeah.
I know you talked about some of the tracks on the latest Doomtree record that you like to play live. Are there any other songs that you have to play when you do a show, like that you just really love performing?
Yeah, yeah, I think there are, and I don't know if they're like super hits or whatever, but I think "Hey You" is the song to me that I really enjoy. Like I look forward to that moment in the set.
Right.
And there's a new one that I just been playing called "The Whale" that the whole set, I was doing a 45-minute set, and I was just kind of waiting for that song every time. You know, it's like put it like third to last or something in the set, so I have to wait like 30, 35 minutes till that song comes up. And I was like, every show, like anticipating the moment I get to play that song.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited about that.
Could be in the new record.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Damn, I'm kind of upset. I missed yours and Astronautilus' show. I had to work. That would have been cool to hear some of the new stuff.
Yeah.
What I guess I would say what's your most recent album or artist you're currently like listening to? I guess like what's in your, I don't know, nowadays it wouldn't be a CD player, but what's on your multimedia player?
My multimedia, nondescript.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah.
I like the Big Crit Return of Forever mixtape. I like a lot of the Magna Carta, even though that's maybe a contested issue, and I don't think that you're wrong. I like that record a lot. What else am I listening to? I listen to like Iron and Wine and Jay-Z, basically, is how you could describe what I listen to.
That is a wide range. That's about what I listen to.
Old
Right.
Jay-Z or new Jay-Z?
All Jay-Z.
Okay.
I mean, I really, really like that dude a lot.
Yeah.
The new Big Boy record I like a lot.
See, I haven't picked it up. Maybe I
so
need to pick that up, I'm guessing.
It's good. It's good. The Run the Jewels record is really good. I like that a lot too. It's really fun. I really like LP's production like a lot. I think he's like totally mastered how to make a banging beat. Like he's absolutely mastered how that works, and it's different every time, even though it's an LP signature sound. The beats like have grown a lot from Fun Crusher to Run the Jewels, and I like that. What else am I listening to right now that I'm like really feeling?
No parts of speech at all. Come on.
Yeah, of course. Of course,
I'm
parts of
just kidding.
speech, and We Don't Even Live Here, and let's see what other.
I can't get enough of We Don't Even Live
man,
Here.
this
That's
is
just
new band
nonstop. Yeah.
Pony Boy. I think it's BWOY, Pony Boy. It's these two guys from here, Spider Baby and this dude Hunter, and it's super awesome. I don't know if you downloaded that Totally Gross National Product sampler that they just put out. It's free, and they have a track on there that's like really, really hot. I'm really liking that record. I think it comes out later this summer.
I'll have to get going here. Like I'll have to get a big list here because
They're gonna be broke by the time we buy all these CDs.
Yeah. This is good though. When I was a kid, I had like a budget for records. You know, I'd buy records every Tuesday. It was just part of my monthly budget. And like, you know, I'd like mow lawns or whatever, like do menial jobs and like work and go to the record store and buy records. I knew what was coming out, and then I would like kind of talk to the clerks a little bit and get some sort of advice on what to do. And that's actually how I found DJ Shadow. And when I said Outkast changed the way I listen to rap music, DJ Shadow was just as instrumental in that. Like the way he made beats was totally different than the way I'd ever heard them made before. I didn't know you could do that. And I didn't know it could sound like this. And it just totally like opened my mind to like, what? You can just do whatever you want and make it sound super awesome. And so Introducing is like a monumental record to me. And Fun Crusher Plus. I didn't know you could rap like that. So I didn't know that was acceptable. And, you know, it was all part of like learning how to figure out that there are no rules. And so it doesn't matter if what I make sounds like what this guy makes. I just want to make what I want to make.
I need someone a little stronger than a suicide girl in this do-or-die world where the suicide rates got me sitting sideways, high stakes, and two of us thinking that it's too much, it's too much. I need a girl about as bad as bad, ooh, not just pissing off daddy with those back tattoos. Oh, that's you love, sitting at the pub, wondering when that drink's gonna swallow you up. That's why I love my girl. She makes me feel sexy, makes me feel warm, she makes me feel good. I love my girl, she give me that feeling, sun up to evening.
Yeah, I do agree though. He's changed a lot of things. Like with the Love Below that came out, and it was completely different than anything he'd ever done before. And a lot of people had backlash with that, but I thought it was unique and different. He's trying to be different.
I mean, if you look at from Southern Playalistic to all of a sudden, like, you know, we're Southern Playalistic Cadillac music, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah, we're actually from outer space because we're weirdos. And then it's and then it's Aquemini, and then it's Stankonia. Like, their growth record to record is incredible to me. And Big Boy's new album, who he's choosing to collaborate with, is pretty incredible to me as well. It's like, he's just in tune. They're both so in tune with what is happening in art. And I think that they're like, really cool. And they try to apply a greater world of art and a greater worldview to rap music. And they try to push the boundaries of what is acceptable and what's possible. And I don't think they worry about how it's going to get received. They just go for it. Well, I really love that.
They do what they enjoy, and that's the kind of thing that Chase and I listen to, is like, whether a lot of the bands that I might listen to, a lot of people might not like, but it's their art. That's what they want to do, and I respect that more than trying to make something to get on the radio.
That's right. And I think that if you really want longevity, and I don't mean it in a way that, like, longevity doesn't mean to me, like, okay, you always are going to have a job.
Like, just really nice, intelligent human being. I hope everybody enjoys it as much as we did.
How big of a fanboy we are shows that during the show, Chase texted his wife saying, I'm officially talking to Sam.
Yep, I was definitely excited.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's jump into the show. Here's our interview with Sims from Doomtree. So when did you know that you wanted to be a rapper?
It wasn't like a conscious decision like that. It wasn't like, yeah, I want to be a rapper now. It was just sort of like something that I was doing. When I was like 14 and 15, I was playing in different bands. And then some friends of mine, you know, we'd freestyle together and stuff like that. And then I got better at freestyling, and I've always written since I was probably like 10 or 11. I've been writing stuff. And then I started kind of writing raps when I was like 15. And, they were really bad, but then I kept like doing it and I got better at it. And as I got better, it got more fun. And, I kind of like pushed myself to make better stuff. And I started like, sort of developed a real passion for doing it, and I just kind of kept going from there. I mean, I suppose I still haven't decided, like, yep, I'm going to be a rapper for the rest of my life. I mean, I feel like that's not a decision I made.
Right.
I think basically I've sort of settled into the fact that I'm like dedicating my life to creating stuff, whatever that means, whether it's music or art or whatever it would be, and just deal with whatever is next, I suppose.
So, quick question though, what kind of bands were you in?
They're real like genre nondescript, you know, kind of like rock stuff that, you know, we were 15 and just kind of screaming into microphones.
Yeah,
and, you know, shredding guitars.
Who inspired you both personally and musically when you were young?
Let's see. I guess when I was young, like, let me like try to put this into like context here, because I don't really think about this stuff too often. What really got me out of, like, you know, I listened to a bunch of different music and stuff, but like I think Pinkerton by Weezer was like a big record for me when I was really young, like
it's a great album.
13 or something like that whenever it came out, and that really pushed me a lot, and like informed a lot of the artistic.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/JucowFTW.
Check out our blog where you can listen and download our shows at jucowftw.blogspot.com.
And find us on iTunes by simply searching for Jucow's Podcast Kingdom.
And submit your questions to us at ask.fm/Jucow. We will answer them all each week on Undressed to Impress with a Girl.
A-lo, rock star, narcissist. How about a little self-respect? What did you sell? What did you tell yourself? Which piece of you sold to get that check? I mean, how many songs about clubs and bottles, drugs and murders can we take? Watch them climb and fall to the vertebrae. Breaks out, Doomtree, birds of prey. Tell your city it's the takedown.
Welcome to Spin This, episode 1. I'm Kyle.
I'm Chase.
And goddamn if we don't have an awesome show for you for the first edition of the show.
Yeah, this is a whopper here.
A whopper.
A whopper.
Yeah, so we had the privilege to talk to Sims from Doomtree. We're obviously Chase and I. We talk about Doomtree all the time on all the other shows. We are big Doomtree fans, big Sims fans, and it was an honor to get to talk to him. So we talk about everything from his career to his personal interests to people stalking him. It's great.
It was a great interview. He's a really nice guy, super genuine, super.
Choices I was making, I guess, at that time. And then it was, I suppose, AT Aliens by Outkast that really showed me like a new way to rap. That and like the Organized Confusion record, Stress, kind of blew my mind open about what rap could be. At that time, I was listening to a lot of like, like Snoop Dogg, NWA, Biggie.
Kind of well, that's kind of the.
Like, so your standards, right? Like,
Yeah, they're gateway rappers.
that's
Well,
right.
That was
And
kind of
then-
the era of gangster rap too. I mean, that was the big thing then. And like that. I was gonna say awesome on the AT Aliens album. I listen to that. I probably still listen to that like once a month. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're my favorite, I'd say, like, of all time. And, like, this is, like, a totally, like, not even a conversation that's, like, worth having with people, like, who's the greatest rapper of all time or whatever. Because you have to look at more than just, like, what you like. You probably have to look at more, like, legacy and impact and things that really don't have much to do with art necessarily. But as far as art goes, I think Andre might be my favorite rapper of all time. And I think that he's just consistently innovating the genre and reinventing himself and pushing himself artistically. And I think that his absence has been felt over the last few years, to me at least. Like,
I would agree. He is
Yeah.
amazing.